All right, so the question is, is it possible to build a chase function in BlackBird? So I'm not sure if it is, but we'll give it a shot. So the example is, before I get started, the example is, on a Renko type bar, if you get a long reversal bar, then set, instead of using a market order, right? Everybody would prefer to use a limit order, so that way you get a better fill on a pullback. But of course, sometimes the market doesn't pull back to fill you. And let's see if there's any examples here. Well, I guess here would be an example, right? The market only made a 1-tick pullback, but let's say your order's 2 ticks back or 3 ticks back. So you're waiting for a deeper pullback. All right, something like over here. You get this longer wick for a deeper pullback. So you're hoping for something like that. But if this pullback doesn't happen, so let's say like over here, there's not much of a pullback. It's only 1 tick. So if you don't get enough pullback, then is it possible to kind of chase the market and such? So I have an idea, and we'll test it out and see if it works. All right, so what we're going to use is a limit order, right? For if you're waiting for a pullback, that basically is what limit orders are for. So let's put that limit order in. And let's see, just for the sake of having something, I'm just going to throw a profit target in there. Okay, so getting back to the entry order. So our initial placement is going to be we're going to use the close price. So we're going to take the reversal bar, we're going to take that close price and set the limit order a few ticks back. And oops, clicked on the wrong one. There we go. So we want to go into initial placement, and what we need to do is adjust our offset. So let's put let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna just create an exaggeration here. Let's do 5 ticks. We'll do a 5-tick offset. I think that'll be easier to visually see the chasing on the chart if we do an exaggerated kind of a pullback here of 5 ticks. All right, and then once we see this working, then we can adjust it to maybe a 3-tick pullback. You guys can adjust it to whatever you want. So we'll start off with something exaggerated like a 5-tick pullback. All right, so from the closing price of the bar, right, we're using the close price of the bar, and we're gonna offset for a long trade. We're gonna go minus 5 ticks. So for a short trade, it's gonna be a positive 5 ticks, right? So right here on my chart, right, this is a down reversal bar, and so we take the closing price of the bar and add a positive 5 ticks. So that's gonna set us, let's see, it's gonna set us right about here where my arrow is. It's about 5 ticks, it's about 50.41. All right, so there's our initial placement. So if we want a chasing function, well, a chase, to chase the trade, well, that's what a trailing is, right? When stop losses trail, they're basically chasing price to do their trailing. So let's go create a custom trailing here, and we're going to add a trailing rule like so. And let's give this a name here. Let's see, I'll call this my entry chase. All right, an entry chase. So let's see, no initial delay, no trigger. I don't think any of these triggers are going to be helpful. Yeah, no, I don't think any of those triggers would be helpful. The action here. So the action is where we're going to define how many ticks back behind do we want this, chase to occur. So, so the last price, right? So you see right now, it's going to move our entry order to the last price, and you guys should know that a last price is always where the market currently is at. So that's the latest and greatest price data to come in. That's the last price, right? So whenever you see whenever you see the market data price coming in, like right now it's 50.20, that's the last price that came in. Your chart is always showing you the last price that came in. Now it's 50.21, so now that's the last price coming in here. You can also see that on the market info here. On the market info panel, you see ask, last, and there's below the ask is the bid. So you can see that right there is the last price, right? That's always the current market info. So our last price is now 50.16. So to do a trailing or do a chase feature, I believe even the ATM chase feature, basically you define an offset. So again, we've decided that our offset is going to be 5 ticks for a long trade, negative 5 ticks. So that'll be our offset there. Next, we'll go into the repeat here. So if you want, you get to say repeat indefinitely and go ticks in direction. Right? So whenever that last price moves in the direction of the trade. So if we're, say, for example, we're in a short trade here on this reversal down bar, well, whenever price keeps moving down, that's moving short, right? We're trying to get into a short trade and the market is moving down, so the market's moving short. Well, that would be ticks in direction, right? So the market is moving, a few ticks at a time in the direction of the trade, and that's what will trigger the repeat. Whenever the market moves, 1 tick at a time in the direction of the trade. If you wanted to, you could wait until the market moves every 2 ticks in the direction of the trade before the action takes place. The action is going to move our entry order 5 ticks away from the last price. So, right, basically, so you could repeat indefinitely. But I know Ninja's chase, the ATM chase functionality actually has a limit. So we could try using the repeat X times. And let's see, so repeat every 1 tick in direction. 1 tick in direction. So we'll set that, and then we want to repeat X times. So let's see. I don't know. We could just say we're willing to, chase the market for 10 ticks. Whatever you want. 10 ticks, 5 ticks. I'm going to set it up high here at 10 ticks, just so we can see some exaggeration of the chasing functionality. So there we go. Okay, I think that'll do it. Yeah. All right. So we've got a test situation set up here. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, let's see. One more thing. Let's set up a signal at these reversal bars here. So anybody who has been with these workshops for a while, or maybe even the Bloodhound workshops, probably has a copy of this crossover test You can use crossover test or crossover test 2. They're pretty much both the same. And in the crossover test, I have a price inflection, right? There's a logic template, price inflection. So whenever the bars reverse, whenever you get a reversal bar, you get a signal in the direction of the reversal bar. All right, so we'll just use that as our simple entry signal. And so next at my entry signal template, I'm going to use that price inflection like so. And there you go. Now let's click OK. Let me turn the Auto Trader on, and we'll pull the market down here. Let's stretch the chart out a little bit. And let me adjust one more thing here. I kind of like to set my margin at 40. Pushes the bar out enough to get those little X's in the price flags. When those price flags have that little X box there, a margin of 40 gives plenty of room in there. All right, so let's pull the market down and let's see what happens. And there we go. Okay, and there is our order. I'll shrink the chart a little bit. And let's see if I can draw a box here. That's 5 ticks. And all right, there you go. So it's chasing. It should keep chasing for 10 ticks here. And I'm scrambling to try and get a box going here that is 5 ticks. All right, I think I'll redo this again here. And it looks like our entry has stopped chasing here. And all right, I'm just trying to set up myself some drawing aids so we can visualize all of this. All right, so I've got a 10 tick box and two boxes that are 5 ticks here. And yes, our entry order has stopped chasing. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So you guys kind of saw that. So let's let's do this again. Let me get something else on the chart here before we do this again. There we go. All right, so if we get a reversal bar, and I want to give myself plenty of working room here. There we go. All right, so let me create a reversal up bar. So our entry order should be placed right there. Here, let me close that out. All right, so our entry order should be sitting right where that. Actually, here I'll use the dot again. So there we go. Our entry order should be placed right about there, and there it is. And then we can see the limit order moved up one immediately as market moved up and it chased it. And so as the market is moving up, it's, you can see our entry order is chasing, waiting for a little pullback there. Let's see. Let me just make things a little, there we go. Make things a little easier to see. So those little sliver bodies there are easier to see. And, oh, we got a pullback and we got filled. Okay. Actually, I didn't intend for that order to get filled here. So let's see. Let's close this out and let's start again. Let's start again here. So if we get a reversal down bar, just a moment here. There. Let's turn that text off. Clear up the clutter. Okay, so if we get a down bar, our entry order will sit right there and then start chasing the trade here. Let me do one more thing. I'm going to change the color of my entry order so it's a little easier to see on the chart here. Let's go with a lighter blue. There we go. That almost looks like a, well, that looks even worse. That blue kind of looked a little greenish, but just go with it anyways. Okay, so here, I'll just cancel the profit target. All right, so let's pull the market down and create a short trade here. Now you notice the entry order is going to pop right on top of that green dot, right? Because that's 5 ticks back from where the bar is going to close, but then it immediately jumps down because this is a Renko bar, and Renko bars, you know, have to move down to create a new bar. So that entry order is going to pop down very quickly because of the bar type that we're using. All right, and so now I'm just going to throw this second box on there. So that second box marks our 10 ticks. Actually, I think the entry order might move 20 ticks. All right, let's see. Yeah, so, right, the entry order did go a couple of ticks past 10 ticks, and that actually makes sense. And then now it's stopped. Yep. All right. Yeah. Okay, so let's go in and kind of revisit what we did here. So let's kind of figure out why, you know, so why did the entry order stop a couple of ticks below this 10 tick mark from the entry, right, from the actual first placement of the entry order at the green dot, right? Remember we said repeat 10 times. And so we're thinking 10 times is 10 ticks, but actually 10 times is not 10 ticks. It's a little bit different. So let's just revisit everything that we set up here. So let's go into the trailing actions. Yeah, so we said repeat 10 times. So repeat 10 times, you know, well, when the entry order is first, actually I'll move this here. When the entry order is first placed up here, well, when the entry order moves down 1 tick, well, that is the first repeat. All right, so there's actually so the repeat is actually going to start, the repeat count is going to start down 1. So the starting place is at least 1 tick down, right? So that's why the entry order actually stops at about 11 ticks down. So, and remember, it's a counter. So inside of BlackBird here, so in our trailing actions, this repeat, it's just a counter. It's not actually measuring 10 ticks. It's just counting, repeating 10 times. So if our entry order jumps 2 ticks in one movement, well, that's considered 1 repeat. So you could get your entry order, actually moving 12 ticks down if the entry order jumps, makes a movement of 2 ticks versus 1 tick. So there, yep. And all right, so it looks like let's cancel all this. So we get to start the process over again. And let's see. Well, looks like I did something here and it's no longer trailing. Oh, right. Let me turn on the order monitor here. So if things aren't trailing, check out the order monitor. Right, you see how trailing got turned off because I was moving around. I was moving my entry order around. So turn the trailing back on, and now things will start to trail. All right, let's hide that. Here's a neat little trick here, guys, to get your chart panels on. Right, if you have a panel on here, you can click the auto hide pin. Right, you can unpin it, and it'll auto hide, just like that. And then when you put your mouse over it, right, it pops back out. Kind of like the taskbar in Windows there. Right, so there's the performance, and then I can go to order monitor and pop that out real quick. So, neat little trick there. You can even do the same, you can do that with all the panels. So like this chart control, I can put that in auto hide if I want, and then go back over here and pop that back out. Let's see here. Okay, so let's kind of set this back to something a little more reasonable. So let's say we only want to set our entry order 3 ticks back. We'll just wait for a 3-tick pullback. And then the repeat, excuse me, how about if we only, repeat this like three times. There. So, let's see. Let's also, just going to see, maybe we might be able to use the repeat until option as well. There we go. Timer bars. Yeah, repeat until. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so we could put a limit on this. Let's say we only want to repeat for 3 bars. Right? So let's say, yeah, so we could give this like a bar a bar limit here. So repeat until 3 bars go by. You could put time in there, like so many seconds, or maybe 1 minute after the entry order, or after the signal. So let's try this. Let's just repeat for 3 bars only. See how that works out. And let's click OK. And let's see, we need to generate a reversal bar. So let me pull the market up. Yeah, let's flatten this. There we go. I didn't adjust my initial placement. So let's redo this. So my initial placement is still set to a 5 tick offset here. So let's adjust this again to a 3 tick offset. There we go. 3 tick initial placement is a 3 tick offset. And then when we go into our trailing rules, we have the action is move to the last minus 3 ticks. We have a 3 tick offset from the last price there. All right. There we go. All right. So let's try this again. Let's generate a short trade. And let me change my little rectangle there to 3 tick offset. There we go. Okay. 3 tick offset. And we're only going to repeat for 3 bars. All right, we should get a short. There we go. There's our short. And let's see, we repeated for 3 bars, and 3 bars made a 3 tick down move. And so our entry started up here 3 ticks above the close, and then moved down basically to the close for just a 3 tick down move. So yeah. Yeah, so there we go. There's a chase functionality there for you. Let's kind of revisit this again. So first thing you want to do is set your initial placement up. So we're using the closing price of the bar minus 3 ticks. And then our trailing rule is, let's open this up a little bit. There we go. Then our trailing rule, our entry chase here is going to be, right, we're going to move to the last price, right? So the last price is the most current market price, minus 3 ticks. So we always want to be kind of 3 ticks behind the market. And then our repeat is, there's 2 ways we can do this. We can do a repeat until, and then we'll just say 3 bars, or you can chase for 4 bars, however many bars you want to chase for, right? You can just change that number. And then the repeat every, so for every 1 tick the market moves in the direction of the trade, this repeat will trigger. And what the repeat triggers is it triggers the action, right? So every time the market moves 1 tick, basically 1 tick away from our entry order, so 1 tick away from the entry order would be in the direction of the trade, then the action is going to repeat. Right, so there we go. So there's a repeat, or the other option would be to use, repeat X number of times. So we could say just repeat this action 3 times, and therefore the entry order would only be able to chase 3 times. In other words, the action could only do its job 3 times. Or say the action can only move the order 3 times. So there you go. There's a couple of ways that we could do this. So basically we got a reversal up bar, but we can see the anaSuperTrend hasn't flipped yet. So, sometimes the anaSuperTrend, if you're using that for your stop loss, the anaSuperTrend is on the wrong side of the market. So if you're going long, right, if you're going long on this reversal bar here, obviously you can't put your stop loss at the anaSuperTrend because your stop loss is above the market for a long trade. So what Jeff would like to do is take the difference between the anaSuperTrend and where price is and use that as an offset for the stop loss. Yeah. And so Jeff, that's using, right, so you're basically trying to do a math formula. And again, Bloodhound nor BlackBird is a mathematical indicator. That's what custom indicators are for, is to do math problems, right? So all indicators are basically mathematical formulas. So you would need an indicator to calculate the difference between price and the anaSuperTrend, to use that difference as your stop loss offset. Either that or adjust the anaSuperTrend settings so that it works with your reversal bars. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's some other options here. Yeah, there's some options here that we can do. Let's clean up the chart. All right, so one option would be let's just create basically we'll start with our initial placement. We'll start with just a fixed tick offset. Right, so of course you'll need to figure out what type of an offset is going to work best with your bars and your system. But for this example, I'm just going to throw the stop loss way out there. 20 ticks. We'll throw it way out there, just for safety purposes for the example here. Just for this example. Then we'll set up. Let's go into the trailing rules and let's see what kind of options we have here. Let's see. All right, well, so this trailing rule, we'll have it trail the anaSuperTrend. So I'm going to just jump over to the action first. Normally you want to do your initial delay, do your trigger, do your action, and then do your repeat. But this time I'm just going to jump to the action, and I want to move the order to. I want to move it to the anaSuperTrend. So I'm going to use an indicator value. All right, and we'll replace the SMA with the anaSuperTrend. Okay, there's our anaSuperTrend, And of course, I'm just using the default settings here. We'll have the stop loss follow the super dot, right, which is the dots that we see on the chart here. So there we go. So the action is we're going to move the stop loss to the anaSuperTrend. And repeat, we'll set repeat indefinitely. There we go. Repeat once per bar. Okay, so we've got the action and the repeat. So now the problem is, let's say you guys see this long signal on the chart here. All right, so if we think about this logically, our initial placement is going to be a 20 tick offset. All right, so great. Our stop loss gets placed, it gets placed way down here, 20 ticks. Right here, we'll change this to a 15 tick. All right, 15 tick. So that kind of works with our chart. Right, so our stop loss gets placed down here at 49.70. Right here on this little line here, 49.70. That's our initial placement. And for our trailing rule, there's no delay and there's no trigger. So the trailing rule is going to kick in immediately, and then it's going to take our stop loss and push it all the way up to the anaSuperTrend, which the stop loss would get filled and hit instantly because price, right, the market is below the anaSuperTrend, so it gets filled. So we need some type of delay or some type of triggering event so that the stop loss doesn't get moved up to the anaSuperTrend too soon, right? We need to wait for price to be above the anaSuperTrend before we want our stop loss to trail that anaSuperTrend. So in the initial delays, we're going to build the initial delays out a little more once we get to Ninja 8. But for now, the initial delays are just some basics, some basic information here. You can wait for a certain number of ticks to go by, points. You can count bars, you can count seconds and minutes, but right. So there's really nothing in the initial delay yet that would serve us. But the trigger, there is a triggering event. We can compare price to an indicator. We can even compare an indicator to an indicator. So, if we look at this, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for price to be above the anaSuperTrend for a long trade, right? Once price moves above the anaSuperTrend, that's when we want the stop loss to start trailing this super trend because price is above it. So now the super trend becomes an actual legitimate stop loss trailing, price point. So here we can do. So we'll compare price to an indicator. So let's just compare the closing price to the anaSuperTrend. All right, so we'll replace the SMA with the anaSuperTrend. All right, just like so. So we have our anaSuperTrend set up. Again, I'm just going to use the default parameters for the indicator. And again, we're looking at the stop dot. So we're comparing the closing price of the bar to the anaSuperTrend's stop dot. And if we want, we could even do something like make sure that the closing price is so many ticks above the anaSuperTrend. We could say make sure the anaSuperTrend is at least 20 ticks, or I should say the closing price is at least 20 ticks above the anaSuperTrend, something like that. But maybe that's necessary with other indicators, but we can see that with the anaSuperTrend. Once the anaSuperTrend flips, there's a pretty big distance here between price and the anaSuperTrend. All right. Okay, so we've got in indicator A, we got price, and indicator B, we have the anaSuperTrend. Now we have to figure out the mode. So basically, we want for a long trade, we want price to be greater than the anaSuperTrend. So we want A to be above B, but not equal. We don't want equal. All right. If the closing price equals the anaSuperTrend, well, that means our stop loss is going to get hit. So let's just do A above B. And then for a short trade, we want A below B. All right. So there we go. So now this trailing rule, you know, to have our stop loss follow the anaSuperTrend, it now has to wait for this triggering event. So we have to wait for price to be greater than the anaSuperTrend for that to occur. And then we'll start trailing. So, yeah, actually, I'm going to set our initial placement back down to -20 so it becomes really obvious when the trailing rule kicks in. So we'll set that stop loss way out there. And then once this trailing rule kicks in, it'll be pretty obvious. All right, let's see. So let's trigger. Yeah, so let's move the market up and we'll trigger a trade. And darn it. Let's see here. I need to make some adjustments here. All right. Let's see. I'm going to make the reversal bar a little smaller to kind of exaggerate when the trailing kicks in. There we go. And then also, I need to change. This to a market order. So first, excuse me. Let me save this here. So let's actually save today's file. Right. So today is the 30th. All right, so we saved that, and actually, just in case, I'm gonna get rid of the signal here. So I'm gonna save this again without that bloodhound signal. All right, and then since we're building something new here, I'm gonna do another save as, and all right, so we're going to switch to a market entry to demonstrate this stop loss chasing the anaSuperTrend. And okay, let's save that. There we go. All right, so let me switch this limit order to a market order so we can just jump in the trade right away and watch the stop loss action here. And again, let me set up a bloodhound signal here to get us in the trade. All right, so let's jump into a short trade here. Let's expand the chart out here. All right, turn the auto trader on. actually if I wanted to, I could just go short now. There we go. So it went short at a market, using a market order. So we can see our stop loss is way back here. Right there, set back 20 ticks. And so now let me pull the market down. And bingo. As soon as the anaSuperTrend flipped on us, so looks like interesting. You guys noticed that. So take a look here. So right there's the market price, right? And guess what? Look, it's below the anaSuperTrend. So right, there was a slight misunderstanding of how the anaSuperTrend flips. So we do need to set some kind of a distance here. So like right there, the market, the closing price of that bar was quite a few ticks below where the anaSuperTrend last was. So we do need some kind of a tick offset here to get this working correctly. So let's go take care of that. So we're going to go into the stop loss, and we're going to go into the trailing actions. And so in the trigger event, we need an offset between the closing price and the anaSuperTrend, some kind of a minimum offset. So let's just say the closing price needs to be, let me think this through here. Yeah, so if we're taking a long trade, let's just say the anaSuperTrend needs to be at least 10 ticks above the anaSuperTrend. Yeah, 10 ticks above the anaSuperTrend. I think that should work. And all right, so let's close this out. And let's create a down bar, a reversal down bar here. All right, so price is currently below, let's see. Let me try that one more time. The new settings might not have taken place yet. So let me try this one more time. See what happens. My offset might be in the wrong direction. So that positive 10 tick offset, I might need to set a negative 10 tick offset. Let's see. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. I'm pretty sure I need to set a negative 10 tick offset. Because what I'm doing is I'm taking the closing price and then adding 10 ticks. Yeah. Yeah, I took the closing price for a long trade and added 10 ticks. So that actually moves the closing price way up here. 10 ticks higher than where their closing price actually truly is. But I need to move so for a long trade, I need to move just a sec here. Let me adjust the market here. Yeah, so what I need to do is take the closing price and actually subtract 10 ticks. So therefore, when the price actually crosses our anaSuperTrend, I want to take the closing price and actually I'm going to subtract 10 ticks. which will put us down there. Yeah, it'll take the closing price, subtract 10 ticks, but it actually puts the closing price way down here. Yeah, so that's a negative 10 ticks, not a positive. All right, so let's readjust this, and maybe we'll get this next reversal down bar if I get this done in time. All right, so let's go into the trigger, and instead of the closing price being a positive 10 ticks, we probably only need to do like negative 5 ticks. Probably that's probably good enough. So that's all going to depend on your anaSuperTrend settings, on your indicator settings. All right, let's save and close that. Okay, so we're in, yeah, we missed this reversal bar, so let's close this trade out and we'll start from scratch again. Yeah, let's see, actually, okay, I'm gonna have to pull the market down here. All right, so let's we're gonna take a short trade into the anaSuperTrend. All right, let me pull the market down a little faster. All right, so our stop loss is still sitting up there. It's not moving down yet, so that's good. We need to wait for price to come down and cross below the anaSuperTrend. All right, so let me pull the market down. All right, there we go. Now we have it working. Okay, so now the stop loss is following our anaSuperTrend, right? There's the first dot of the anaSuperTrend in a down mode. All right, so I think we got it. Let me just kind of pull the market down here. We'll just watch this stop loss trail here for a little bit. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, I set repeat to indefinitely. Okay, good. So this stop loss will trail the anaSuperTrend indefinitely. There we go. Stop loss moved down. All right, our stop loss is moving down. There. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. So there's one way to work around the anaSuperTrend. You know, if the anaSuperTrend is on the wrong side of the market when you take a trade. So let's open this back up again. Right, so what we had to do is just create some kind of a, simple stop loss, offset. So, right, so I just used a simple 20 tick. Of course, you can go in and adjust this later. So I guess we'll adjust it down to a 15 tick, like so. Now remember, if your initial placement is closer to price than where the anaSuperTrend will go, then your stop loss is not going to move. Right? Your stop loss will not move backwards. So what you'll have to do is if your initial stop loss location is closer to price than the anaSuperTrend, then you'll have to wait for the anaSuperTrend to pass your stop loss before your stop loss will start trailing the anaSuperTrend. All right, so just keep that in mind. BlackBird, by default, will not push your stop loss away from price. All right, the default, the default trailing stop loss methodology is to always move your stop loss closer and closer to price, so you're locking in more and more profits. So BlackBird has that built in to where BlackBird won't move your stop loss away from price, increasing your stop loss risk. So BlackBird does not do that by default. All right, so all right, so the key was to use this trigger event. And so we're comparing the close price. We're taking the close of the bar minus 5 ticks. So that way the close price has to get significantly beyond the anaSuperTrend. So like right here in this example, in this area, we can see the red anaSuperTrend, and price was above the anaSuperTrend, but we wanted to make sure that the price got significantly above it, and that way that waits for the anaSuperTrend to flip, right, before the trigger event actually becomes true. So there we go. anaSuperTrend, or I'm sorry, indicator A is set to price, indicator B is set to our anaSuperTrend, and then we just need to get the long and short modes set up correctly here. Jeff has a new question here. What's the difference between the OCO entry price and the average entry price? Yeah, all right. So let's see here. Let's go to help and let's go to documentation. All right, so in our documentation, if we go to the OCO sets here, right? So price, average, the average prices, or the entry prices, there's a part of the OCO set component here. Right, so let me just kind of, for anybody new here, let me go to order settings first, and you'll see here's kind of a breakdown of BlackBird's interface. Right, so the OCO entry price and the average entry price, right, those are components inside of your OCO order sets. Right, so therefore we're going to go to the OCO sets here. And we just now need to scroll down until we find the prices here. So what we're going to do is scroll down to, let's see, we could actually, initial placement also. Initial placement is where you can access the entry price. And let's see, this is actually just a short, this is just a short explanation of what initial placement is. So let's keep scrolling down. And here we go. So trailing rule components. Let's go down to action. So here we go. So we're using the move order 2. And if you see down here, it says for more information, we want to go to the section here that says move order 2. So if we click on that, that's just going to scroll us down. There we go. So you can see right here, there's a actions move order 2 section here. And okay, actually, sorry, that's not it either. Here we go, price. So, yeah. So what are we using here? So we're using price. So our mode is price. Price is what gives us access to the OCO entry price and average entry price. So let's scroll down here. There we go. So here's price. And there we go. At the very top here. Very top here. So the average entry price, right? This is the average entry price of all orders. All orders. Right? So if you have multiple OCO orders, right? If you have multiple order sets, then you could have different entry prices. Right? So if you have a different entry price for each order set, so in other words, kind of like you're scaling in. So let's say you're scaling in as a market is moving against you, right? You're going to have 3 different entry prices for each of the entry, for each of these entry orders. You'll have to pretend like these are limit entry orders, right? And so you would get an average. So you can average all those entry prices to get your actual average entry price. So you guys are familiar. So if you've ever done any kind of sim trading or live trading, and if you've ever scaled in to a position, you'll notice that NinjaTrader, using the chart trader, NinjaTrader always gives you your average fill price. Right? Your average fill price is your average entry price. So there you go. Your average entry price is an average, of all the entry prices. So an OCO entry price. So this is the average entry price for only that OCO set. So again, let's see here. Yeah, let me just kind of clear this out here. Let me make something a little more practical. So we're going to use a limit order to get in. And let's just say I set my first limit order at the close price. And then I make another order set. And I'll take my next entry will be the close price minus a couple of ticks. All right, and then I have a third order. And that third order, let's say I wait for a deeper pullback, right? So I've got entry orders at 3 different prices here, right? Let's click OK, and let me go short. And don't want that. Wait. Oh, there we go. So let's go long. And just a moment here to refresh the chart. All right, let me go long. Okay, there we go. So you see all 3 entry orders, right? So those entry orders, we can take the average of all the entry orders and get an average price, an average entry price of all of them, or you can grab the entry price of each separate OCO order, right? So order A, limit limit entry order A, that's an OCO set. So order B, that's an order set, and order C is an order set. So let's see, let's bring up the documentation again here. Yeah. So the OCO entry price, that would be just the entry price, for that order set. So we have 3 order sets. So in theory, we could get 3 different OCO entry orders, as my entry flags kind of show on the chart here, right? Each of these entry orders has its own entry price. And so that's what the OCO accesses. So the OCO entry price will access the entry price for each of these order sets. So and then I guess just to reiterate, the average entry price, well, that's the average entry price of all order sets, of all of these entry orders. Now that the average entry order will adjust every time you scale in with a new entry order, obviously that average entry order would adjust. So for example, when entry order A gets filled, your average entry price is just going to be wherever A got filled. And then, all right, so let's just say A gets filled. Great. Now, when B gets filled, then your average entry order, or your average entry price, is going to be somewhere in the middle, right? Because you got 2 different entry prices. So the average is going to be in the middle. And then again, when your third entry order gets filled, again, you're going to average these up, and so your average entry price is going to be somewhere along there. All right, so you take all 3 entry prices, add them up, and divide by 3. And so that'll move your average down again. So every time, here we go, actually. So you can actually, the flag here, right, your entry flag, this is actually showing you the average entry price, right? The flag, is always showing you your average entry price. So if I pull market down, we'll see our entry flag also move down to the average entry. The green dots here, right? Oops. The green dots are showing the OCO average entry price. There we go. So now our average moved down to there, and oh, okay, actually that happened pretty quick. So so all 3 orders got picked up. So there's the average entry for all 3 orders now. All right, I hope that clarifies things. All right, I don't see any other questions on here. All right, guys, that'll do it. Say have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow in the Bloodhound Workshop. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Okay, bye-bye, guys.